Welcome.
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 to breakfast together. Good morning. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Dobry dzień.
Buenos días.
¿Qué tal, chicos y chicas? Tudo bem? Tudo bem?
Tudo bem?
Dimi woke up with a lot of energy today.
Right. How are you doing, folks?
We're doing really well, and we are very excited to welcome you to another Sunday morning with Breakfast Together team.
Yay!
Hey.
Yes, today we're actually going to discuss a very interesting thing. It's going to be a bit different format that we've done before, but we decided to put together all the questions that we've ever heard related to us learning languages. So, what are the most common questions polyglots get? That's what we're going to be discussing today. Let's see where it takes us.
And the first question goes, this question I get a lot. Are you a teacher? Because you speak so many languages. Like if I could get a penny for every time I get this question, I would already be a millionaire.
Are you a teacher, Irena?
I used to be a teacher, so this is the thing. People had been asking me this question for so often that I thought, like, okay, at this point, you know what? I'm becoming a teacher.
Yeah.
You were asking for it.
We're doing a podcast for so long, and I didn't know that. Are you a teacher?
You have to listen to one of the first episodes. I'm pretty sure Irena has mentioned something like this in the beginning.
Yeah, I'm not a teacher anymore, but I teach as a volunteer. I teach Norwegian in a local library once in a while. And I used to teach Norwegian for some time as a professional teacher, but I already was a polyglot and I already spoke like a certain amount of languages when I got into that career. So no, people, no, not all polyglots are teachers. Not all polyglots know how to teach. Like I do know because I worked with that. It's a cool skill to have. I think that it has helped me a lot, especially in doing the language exchange. So I'm more patient, more structured. Telemachos has tried a little bit of my teaching skills in Russian.
It's pretty good.
Thank you.
You can see that she is a teacher. But it's funny because it's a very different thing being good at something and being good at teaching something.
Great
Even though maybe
point.
with languages there's a bit of more overlap, perhaps, I don't know. But I'm sure all of us, in university or in school, you had somebody who had a lot of lot of knowledge, but they were really bad at putting it out of their head and in somebody else's head.
Oof. It's interesting what you say, Telemachos, because I feel in some topics, especially in IT, that is my profession. I think I know them well, but sometimes I question myself: do I know them well? Because sometimes I cannot explain them. So yeah, it's
But
a good.
that's what you say, right? Like when you retain the information of like how much you can remember, and the highest percentage, I think, is when you can explain it to someone. Then you will really remember it, right?
Exactly.
So it also helps you remember.
No.
Or how they say that. Or how they say, if you can explain it to your grandma, then you really know it. And in
Probably,
IT, we
yes.
say, if you can explain it to a computer, then you really know it.
No. If you explain it to people that are not tech savvy, then you can explain it to everybody.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if your grandma is tech savvy, but
Yeah.
I wonder. I wanted to ask actually if you were a teacher of one language and not all the languages that you speak, does it sort out the answer for those people that are asking this? Because I am a teacher, I can say, but I don't teach right now. I'm not actively a teacher. I can, but I don't do it. And I wouldn't say back in the days when I was teaching English that I am a polyglot, but then it kind of took a different role because I started traveling more. So some other languages were acquired. But does being a teacher of one language and not all the other languages make us sort of answer this question? Because I feel like some of the languages, like some people are saying, "Oh, you're an English teacher, great, you have a certification, but that means you can also teach Russian and Polish and other languages." And I'm like, not really. That is not the same.
especially if it's your mother language.
Exactly. Yes, very good point. I have no idea like about all the rules in Russian. I can just like use the method, the conversational method that I learned while being a teacher. But yeah, man, I cannot teach all the other stuff. Like, I mean, like, it's easier for me than for other people, I guess, because I have the teaching skill, right? But like, not really. I don't know what kind of answer they really expect. Actually, it's funny. I have a polyglot friend, Boyana. Shout out to Boyana. And she hasn't been to our events for a while because she used to live in China, and it's a little bit difficult to get from China to Europe. But hopefully, she's coming back to the events. And she is a hyper polyglot. She speaks like around 10 plus languages, and I think that
Wow.
she teaches, if I'm not mistaken, she teaches six, at least six.
Wow.
Wow.
Like that's just insane. So if you ask her like, are you a teacher, then she would say yes of many languages, but she's just an exception, really.
I
Yeah,
see.
we have, I think Elisa Polesa, DJ, they are people that teach a couple of
Yeah,
languages.
yeah.
Yeah, greetings to them as well then. Right.
Yeah.
What about any other typical questions?
I think the most common question that everybody, I guess, had that in the past is, what is the secret? How are you doing that? Actually, the way that I feared that question was, you're talented with languages, like
Oh, yeah.
You have a
or
talent.
you have a talent with language, or you're super smart. And always my question is, like, my reply is, no, I'm not. I don't have any talent with languages. I just do it every day. That's it. That's a secret for me. I just dedicate time to do it. But I
Mhm.
think people don't really see that.
People don't believe you. They're like, no, there is a secret. You're
Yeah,
just not
yeah.
sharing it.
No, there is a secret. Exactly, exactly, exactly. And to be honest, when I first started, like, that was 4 years ago. I was like, I was thinking the same. There is a secret that somebody is not telling me. How this is happening? How do you learn all these
Yeah.
languages? I guess everybody had this question before, right?
Hmm. Yeah, and I
For
think
sure.
it's mostly about motivation in the end, and
Mm.
curiosity, actually, not motivation, but more curiosity, because that's where
Yeah.
everything comes from. Because I mean, I realize that I'm very curious about things that bore many people, and I think all of
Mm.
us are curious about many things that bore other people. So I think that's
Yeah,
the big difference. If you find these things fascinating, then of course you're gonna be a lot more self-motivated to learn them, and you're not gonna be forced to learn to study a language because you have to, like in school or something. But you actually, it's something that excites you and you're passionate about, so you will do it a lot. And I mean, we are humans. We are biologically made to learn languages. It's kind of in our DNA, I think. So if you're curious enough, I think it's something that just keeps happening and happening and happening.
And
Yeah, this reminds me of this amazing, sorry, Irena, atmosphere that we encountered during the Polyglot
mm,
events, where you have groups of people literally being so into discussing some grammatical details, some kind of words, some kind of methods, and we're so into this. And I can't tell you guys, I always think about someone from outside who would observe this and they'd think, "Oh my
well,
god, this is so boring. Like, how do people talk about this?"
come
But
on,
that's
Asia, even me, like, that I really am passionate about languages at some point, or like it's too much.
sometimes.
yeah, me
I
too.
don't want, in a polyglot event. I just don't want to talk about more about
Yeah.
languages, because you are there. You talk about lenses from 8 o'clock until 6 o'clock. Come on, later you can talk about your
Mm.
life. What do you like? This kind of stuff. But I get your
This
point.
is the
Yeah,
stuff that
Yes, it's
I
beautiful.
love about our community. Like, I usually, like, I just returned from Romania. I was telling off record, I was visiting my friend Christina. So you have to listen to this episode. I know you don't, but this episode you have to, because you're mentioned. But
we're gonna tag you.
yeah, and like, we mentioned she's also a polyglot. She speaks like 6 or 7 languages. She's a very talented young lady. And we spoke about languages very little. Like, we spent like 3 4 days together. And that, like, I've always been telling that for me the polyglot events is like the vibe of like-minded people. We don't have to, I don't feel the urge. So I second you, Dimia.
Yeah.
I don't have the urge to speak about languages all the time, especially about grammar. It kind of bores me, like, to be honest. And then, like, I am curious, as you mentioned, Telemachos. Like, it's all cool and funny, but for me it's more like-minded people, and then we find so many other things in common. Because if you're a polyglot, then you usually, normally, you like traveling, then you normally like trying, I don't know, new things or like new food. So we connect also on that level. Like, my life is not all about languages. And another common question: people think that I study like nonstop, and I don't go out of my room, like, because I speak so many languages. I'm like, man, like, eh,
Yeah, that's the question. How have you learned all of this? How do you learn? It's like always this question. How come so
yeah, yeah,
many?
yeah,
So how
exactly. And
come?
it's related to the secret thing, like, and then like, what's the secret? And I always say, like, there is no secret. And I also really agree with what you said, Dimi. Like, it's just, dedication, like you do it every day, you
Dedication,
practice a
yeah.
lot. And there is no talent. I personally don't believe in talent. I know many people disagree with me in the polyglot community as well, or people are like, but there must be some, but there is some kind of predisposition.
You're hiding something from us.
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to
I
share.
have to be honest. I have some kind of a little bit of mixed feelings about this. About I'm not talking about talent particularly, but I am thinking about a certain personality and like a certain lifestyle that is involved in it. Because when I look at my learning languages between 20 to 30, uh, it is one style and one completely different sort of way
Wait,
of learning.
Asia. I thought you were like 25,
I
no?
know. Yeah, I know. And then when I'm talking about the
24,
period,
come
which
on.
is warning almost over between 30 and 40, I can see that the language learning is also taking completely different form.
Mhm.
So I can say that between 20 and 30, I haven't studied languages. I mean, yes, I studied Turkish, but that's because I was heavily involved in immersion. And after 5 months, I just started to organize the knowledge in a structured way where I actually studied the language. But the beginnings were completely not about studying. It was about contact with humans and just in general contact with all the other people. And then I notice now how when your life is getting sort of settled in an environment, it also depends on where you live. You do need to put more discipline into things if you want to learn. I notice at least about myself, like I don't learn as easier anymore because yes, I travel, but my travel is also different. So obviously it means that you got to expose yourself in a different way to languages because immersion may not be possible
Hmm.
all the
Mhm.
time as I used to use that method to learn. So yeah, no secret, but at the same time, probably certain lifestyle that needs to be there, like heavy travels, right?
No. I mean, as yeah, interesting point. As Dilemma has said, I think is in the motivation. Yes, comes and goes, and sometimes you're super motivated because you started like maybe a new language and you want to learn all the bits and bytes and all the tricks, and maybe you have some people around you that
Or you
speak a
move to a
language and you
different
want to
country.
impress them,
That's a great
or you
motivation.
moved to the country. But it's back to what Dilemma has said, and I think it's the curiosity, like to learn. Like I mean, we naturally have this curiosity as human beings.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
curiosity of learning a language is the one that drives us, and then is the consistency of doing it every day, which will have the results eventually. And the biggest thing that I tell to myself is like a lot of times I feel why I don't speak so many languages or why I started later in my life to learn. And in the end, it's like I try to convince myself that it doesn't count how fast or how many languages you learn, but in the end, it's enjoy the trip and have fun while you're doing it. Like not seeing the end goal, but try to enjoy.
Hmm.
So
Of course, and then we have our beautiful community that connects us. That's like another thing. And I think that's a really also really really fun part that personally motivates me. Even though like I'm right now not currently actively learning any new language. Um, but yeah, I wanted to comment on another common thing that people often ask me. I don't know if you have gotten this question. People ask, what language are you dreaming in or thinking in?
Hmm.
uh, like people ask me all the time, and for me, well, it's a fun question because I do like dream and think in different languages actually.
Hmm.
So mostly like my native language, Russian, but sometimes when I'm at work I think in Norwegian, because I have
Makes sense.
to
Yeah.
yeah, produce and talk to my colleagues in Norwegian, and actually a lot of times it's English, or yeah, depends on which language I was speaking in. Like if I was talking to someone in, I don't know, Italian, Portuguese, and then
right,
like I'm
your brain sits. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
exactly
yeah, yeah.
like
I
I'm
know.
tuned in. What
Yeah.
about you guys? Have you gotten this question?
Actually, something that I wanted to tell here, Irena, it's interesting because you are one of the people that speak so many languages. So also have this question for you, like in which language are you? Sorry about that, but in which language do you
No, it's
think?
okay.
Interesting, interesting.
Yeah,
um,
no, I think I've had a few times, but of course fewer because I don't speak so many languages as Irena. But not, I mean, to be honest, I mostly think in Greek still. Like this hasn't changed a lot. A few times in English and very few times in German, mostly at work. If I'm immersed in German because I'm in the workplace, sometimes I just keep the ball rolling in my mind and just say, I'll just keep thinking in German. Why not? But to be honest, no. For me, it's like actually mostly Greek. And an interesting thing to mention here is that there was this study, I think probably many of you know it, that said that we think more logically in a foreign language and more emotionally in our native language, which kind of
Mm.
makes sense because you learned the foreign language in a more logical way and you connected it a lot more to the learning process, to exams, to tests, while you learned your mother language through emotional events, through your life, through things that were happening to you. So it's connected
That
more
may
to
explain
emotions.
that may explain why when I get angry, I usually curse in either Polish or Russian and no other
Never
language.
Turkish,
So
but I'm sure Turkish
in
has so many
Turkish, there are
beautiful
some
swear
things,
words, Asia.
but they don't work as much as the ones that you know from day one.
Yeah, of
So
course.
yeah, I noticed that whenever the quarrel comes in, then obviously some words in the language of the closest to me are popping out. So that may second what you're saying, Telemachos.
Oh, I can totally agree with that. With swearing, I mean, first of all, Greek swearing feels so nice. We have
yes.
so many beautiful words,
Hey, Vlaka,
conjugations.
Oh my god.
Malaka blaka.
Vlaka.
Oh, that's soft core. That's not that's nothing. But we keep it like family friendly in the podcast, even
Yeah.
in foreign
Kids
languages.
allowed.
Yes, no, but it's
Yeah, all Greek kids, the first word they learn is either malaka or blaka, so it's all
no
fine.
Vlaka, no Malaka. It's more important. I remember a friend of mine was once telling me a story where he had some trouble on an airplane, like they wouldn't like something with his seat was there was a confusion and something, and he started swearing at them in Greek, and they got so scared that because he was like yelling in a foreign language they did not understand very passionately, so they just gave him whatever he wanted in the end because they got so scared. But he's like because he just switched to Greek just to start swearing. He was speaking in English
Reasons to
before
learn
then.
Greek.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I also feel like it's a lot about the setup. Like now I start thinking about this a little bit more in terms of languages we think. And when I am driving, for example, and I mostly drive in Turkey, which is really funny because I don't drive in Poland as much. Now I'm driving actually quite a lot. And it's a new experience for me to be a driver and just to everyday use a car. And I definitely get angry in Turkish because I'm in Turkey. So it makes sense, right?
And
But when, for
sorry, but if you
example,
can drive in Turkey, I think you can drive everywhere.
yes,
I
yes,
would agree
yes.
with this, but changing Turkey into Istanbul. I think if you can drive in Istanbul, you can drive everywhere. That's for sure. And I actually drove in Istanbul last week, so whoa, seriously, that
Yay.
was a huge achievement. Yeah, to my driving skills. But anyway, but then I was thinking about work emails. In general, work setup. I cannot. I really am struggling when I have to write a business email or anything related to corporate in, let's say, Russian or Polish. I'm always trying to translate it from English, and I absolutely adore using English language for any business related things.
Hmm.
Or actually, this is also related to job interviews because when I had the job interview in Russian and Polish and Turkish was the weirdest. I always felt like I can't explain things in the proper way. So I definitely prefer English and then I think English and it's just smooth. I don't need any other
Mhm.
language. But
Mm.
even if I'm turning back to my native, that's just not as easy.
I can definitely agree with that, Asia, especially for the work environment. And I think Telemachos, because we are from the same country and we are working in the IT. I cannot explain things in Greek. Like I don't know, I cannot say like like the server. When I talk about like server or clients, I am gonna use the English words.
Yeah,
It's so
yeah.
Yeah.
difficult, especially for the interview that you mentioned. Is so difficult. So yeah, for me
Yeah.
as well is the same. Like in a work environment, I will use English because I've been working like for the last 6 years at least using that language. And then, as Irena said, sometimes if I write like a message in Spanish, or like if before I was speaking like German with a colleague, then the next words that will pop up will be in that language, and then I will realize, okay, I have to switch to English. It was funny. I wanted to speak to my manager, and I it was just like Spanish words coming in my head, and I was like, no, change to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
switch to English, please.
Resist the Spanish invasion, Dimi.
This
Yeah.
is something that Asa also
Yeah.
mentioned, like because another question that people ask us if we mix up languages, and this is so relevant, and this
Yeah.
is exactly what
Mhm.
you're saying. Sometimes I'm like,
How do you switch dall'italiano all'espagnolo e потом по-русски
right,
а поздней
right,
по-польскому? How do you do
right,
this?
and if like and if you mix it or not, because like for me it's the same as for you, Dimi. Sometimes I speak in a language to a person that the person doesn't understand, and I can see it on the face, and or
Right.
sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I said it to you in this language, but it actually means that this is the story of my life all the time, and it's like sin querer. It's yeah.
Yeah. Or the funny thing, I think like we probably everybody had that in one of the conferences or the gathering, that you speak one language and then you ask yourself or you ask the others, which language are we speaking? Because I don't remember.
Oh
It happens
yeah,
with people. It happens with polyglot people that you speak a lot of languages and you know that you speak three at least common languages and you switch and you say, we're speaking Spanish, right? No, we speak
Yeah,
German.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It happened a
I
lot.
remember that. Oh, you were saying we had this conversation, but in which language did you have
Which
it? I
language was
completely
that?
forgot.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy stuff. Yeah, but actually,
Actually,
go
I
ahead,
have a
Lemma.
question for you guys. So how does it work with you and accents? Like, because for example, I can use a Greek accent in any language I speak. So I can speak English with well,
Greek
I
accent.
try to speak with an English accent or a Greek accent.
Yeah,
I
Ai
can
Greek
speak,
Greca.
accent.
German with a kind of German accent or a Greek
Mhm.
accent. Spanish is difficult because it's no, even Spanish maybe a bit. Russian with a Greek accent, like all of the languages with a Greek accent or without.
Ma говорю по-русски.
Я говорю по-русски.
Я говорю
Ah.
по-русски un poquito.
Opa!
So cute, this
Немножко.
one.
Опа.
So, do you guys also can you switch between just like the accent of your native language in many languages, or in only some of them, or can you even do even other accents, or how does it work?
My close
I'm very
friends
curious,
know that.
actually.
I don't know. You tell
Yeah,
me. Can I or can I
my,
not?
my, my close friends know
I'm
that I have
just.
a
I don't
passion for
want.
Indian accent as well.
I don't. Yeah, like I do this actually, and I don't know. Like, okay, see, we kind of treat this platform as our safe haven, but it's sometimes is considered a little bit not nice when you're trying to mock languages. But I love doing this, and I constantly do this, and I switch between one or the other, and then you don't know what you're talking about. You're just trying this, trying that, and then that's how it is. But we don't know. It's
Not good.
just.
Mocking the Indian accent. What are you doing, Asha?
I don't know. I just sometimes try to sound different. It's sometimes you just try to sound good. But I actually depends on the day. It depends on the day. Sometimes I have a better accent in some languages, and sometimes I just try to speak that language in some other accent pops out. And yes, I can, for example, sometimes I speak Turkish and my Turkish is so good. I'm like, oh my God, I sound like pretty much like a native. And then the other day I speak and I was like, oh, that was so
this
Russian. I was
this
like, this
Oh
is
happens to
yeah,
so
me a
Russian
lot.
Turkish.
Yeah, I have like
oh
bad
yeah.
language
Yeah.
days, good language days, and I notice
Yeah.
that when
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
stressed or nervous, like I have pretty
Mhm.
strong Russian accent, and I can't do anything about it,
Oh,
And I
yeah.
have like there
Yeah.
is like one viral reel with me with that some of you might have
Вот
seen,
черт.
and then like there the accent is pretty strong because I was a little bit nervous, like she was interviewing me on the street, and I know I don't normally speak like that, but my favorite accent is still, of course, the Norwegian because I live in this country. And then this is actually how they speak. This is how they speak.
Sounds very
Uh,
Estonian.
it's a very soft
Maybe it's
accent.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I
yeah.
can barely understand it. Actually, like I can barely understand that it's an accent and it's not like proper English.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
But
Dear all listeners,
Yeah,
just to clarify that we are like now getting more and more likes in our Instagram page, so please don't unfollow us after this discussion.
time to lose
we
some
love you
followers.
all. It is just
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
we're just
the
joking.
sake
Yeah,
of
yeah,
content.
we're just having
yeah,
fun. It's
of
nothing
course, of
No,
course.
but so you guys can do a Russian accent in all of your
of
languages.
course.
Okay.
This is
No,
not
I mean,
I
me. I
don't know.
didn't
yeah,
Can I?
forget
but
my
I don't
roots. Of
know.
course, I can do the Russian accent.
I'm curious
Yeah, but
how
wait, can
Russian
you do
accent is.
Russian accent in Spanish?
Claro
That
I
que
would be
sí, por
crazy. Yeah.
supuesto. ¿Tú qué piensas? Dime.
Mojito. Dos mojitos, por favor. Okay, I got it.
Mojai. Dear listeners, for those who don't understand, this is mojito.
Titus.
No,
Muchachos.
Irina, mojito. Yeah, okay. All right, got it. Yeah, I think. Yeah, you see, this
Wow,
is trainable as well. This is
I love
scary.
it. I
أنا
love it. It
بحكي
could be
بحكي عربي مع لهجة روسية لما بحكي عربي أنا بحكي هيك نحن
Ee,
الروس
evet, Türkçe bilmiyorum. Rusya'dan geliyorum. Türkçe bilmiyorum. Yes, yes. Correct.
check
Okay.
check
Yes,
check.
Limahos, your
I'm just confused now.
yes.
I
I
don't
was
even know
assuming.
what language you speak.
And now that we're talking about accents, like of course the obvious, the elephant in the room, we have to mention Dimi's excellent, perfect pronunciation in
Oh yes.
Spanish.
Oh my
I
god.
actually thought he's from Spain.
Thank you, thank you. And I
How many
don't.
times a day are you asked about? Are you from Spain?
A
Not a
day.
lot because not a lot because my first phrase I will make a mistake.
Yeah, the grammar gets you. You confuse
The
S
grammar
with
gets you.
sa,
Yeah.
and it's over.
You know, if it's like a phrase that I use so often, not like que tengas un buen día. It's gonna be like easy, like oh, this guy is from some like speaking like a country, speaking sorry,
Like a
Spanish
native.
speaking country. Yeah, but yeah, it's funny because a lot of people, I mean, they realize after like the third phrase or like after talking a bit that I'm not from there. But the common question that a lot of people ask is, have you lived in Spain or have you
Mm-hmm.
ever had like a partner from Spain? Which is like it happens a lot that, okay, I think a lot of people say, yeah, you learn these languages because you have a partner or because you lived
Oh yeah.
Oh
in that
my
country
god.
for so many years.
Those partners so useful.
And I can say I've been living in Germany and I still struggle with German. So, folks, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. But yeah. I to your question, Irena, I've been a lot of times, or sorry, Asia. A lot of times, people tend to think that I'm from Spain until the first error that I will make. That I will think that something is it's weird. If I speak super fast, probably they will not understand the first
Oh
error,
yeah.
like the error. But yeah,
Fake it until you
that's
make it.
probably happened. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. How about you, folks? Have you ever had like any question? Are you from this country, or for example, like Asia, you have a pretty British accent, I would say.
That's true.
It's
That's
very
true.
it's running here and there, frankly speaking. It's running here and there. You can straight away understand I'm not from the UK or whatever, because it switches. I can start speaking you like British accent, then it finishes with American, and
America.
nobody knows why that happens.
Wow,
Yeah,
like
nobody know
wow.
why that happens. Yeah, so yeah, it's very unstable, I would say. But yeah, I mean, because of my husband mostly, I guess that's the influence, but also because of my relatives that I had in the UK and I visited a couple of times, and the fascination in general I have for British.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask one more question that we have on the table. Is very commonly we're asked, how do we learn, for example, two or more languages at the same time? Because yeah, learning one language is pretty easy, but do you guys learn a couple of languages at the time, or did you in the past? And how do you do this?
I mean, at this point, I'm learning Portuguese and Russian because I'm also
Okay.
employing a tactic where basically I don't learn two languages from the same family at the same time, because I think
Mm.
that's one of the
Oops.
good tips. I'm sorry, Asha, that you have to go through this.
Oh, I'm failing all the way, so it's okay.
It's up to us. You're gonna speak Italiano and
No, I didn't.
perhaps even
Yeah,
Portuliano soon. Um,
Porcuñol.
exactly.
but yeah, basically, I think that helps is basically this. So having languages from different families at the same time, and I think another thing that helps is having languages at different levels of learning, because when you start,
Mm.
either it's immersion or you're starting with the very basics like vocabulary, grammar, how to like learn to say a few things in the beginning. Whereas when you get to, for example, a B2 level, you can start learning through songs, through media. So it's a completely different way of learning the language. So I think it helps a lot if you have like different levels of these languages. Like that's what I do now with my like I have my main language usually in a kind of level that I can understand, like podcasts and books and series. And I have, for example, Russian, which I'm learning slowly, which I'm basically learning still with the old way, with grammar tables and a bit of
Yeah.
trying to get to the level where I can understand actually whole sentences fast and communicate a bit with the people. So I think
Mm.
that's
Does
these are
the
two things that
difference
help.
in alphabet helps you? The difference in alphabet that they're
I think
sort
it's
of
irrelevant, to be honest. I get also this question very
okay.
often, like when I'm learning Russian, or if somebody wants to learn Greek, they ask me about the alphabet, and I always tell them that, trust me, in European languages, the alphabet is the least of your worries. Like if you
This
want
is
to learn
so
Oh
Greek
yeah,
or
for sure.
Russian, I think like I learned the Russian alphabet in like 2 weeks, and I think it's kind
Yeah.
of irrelevant
Mm.
that I speak Greek already, because alphabets are easy. Like you just get used to them super
Mm.
fast. Maybe
Yeah.
you cannot read as fast as the Latin alphabet, but I think
Mm.
it's the same with even if Polish is in the Latin alphabet, but I still cannot read it fast. So I think that alphabets are pretty easy, but usually it's more other things that are complicated, like vocabulary. If you have already a language from that language branch, for example, that that you can kind of relate to, or if it's a completely new branch, like the Slavic branch, the Germanic branch, or whatever. So that's for me. How
Yeah.
about
I
you
still
guys?
feel like the European languages and around is pretty easy, but when I lived in China and I tried to learn Mandarin, guys, that was just a completely different. You gotta change the way of thinking. It's not
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
only about alphabets, different alphabets. It's everything. I mean, imagine
Mm-hmm.
I would walk around the city, Shanghai, and I would look at the shields of shops and all. I wouldn't understand anything. I wouldn't know if I walk into a post office or an erotic shop. Like I wouldn't see the difference because you never know. So in that sense, I think it's crazy. But in Europe and just surrounding places, this is super easy. And as you say,
Mm.
completely, I agree with that. It's just you don't need to worry about this. This is your
Yeah.
least concern. And just to add on on what you were saying about different levels, I think it's definitely helpful for the languages to keep it at different levels, so then you can kind of focus on two different. It's like a wave of radio, it's not, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
interfere.
Mhm.
But I also feel like I try to mix it up because I, unfortunately or fortunately, learned two languages from the same group, very close by, Italian and Spanish, and this has been a constant battle
The
for the
struggle.
past 2 years. I tried to say that no, that's it. I am going to put, a definite point into this and learn both of them. And it's going to be fine. It's not fine, but that's also because I don't really put much time recently into this. There's a lot happening, so I don't really learn as much. But I think what helps me is to keep the skills separate. Let's say in one day I decided to dedicate my time to Italian and to Spanish. I would listen to an
Mm-hmm.
Italian podcast, let's say, half of it actively, half of it passively. So I would make some notes about new vocabulary and then just listen until the end without any contribution. And then for Spanish, I would just try to speak, chat to my friend, let's say, or something like that. And I would just
So
keep
kind
it
of separate
totally
your the
different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
activity
you
like
with your
manually
listening,
language.
separate the
listening for
languages.
one, speaking
Yeah.
for the other, or listening and speaking for one, and then writing and reading for the other. So it's just to keep it a little bit
Yeah.
separate. That
Mm-hmm.
would be maybe the method.
I think Asia, on what you said, there's like this common question, and I've seen that in Reddit or like even in the conferences, people are asking about that. Yes, I agree that you shouldn't start maybe languages from the same group, like Romance language in this case. But if you establish like a good level, like an intermediate, high intermediate level in one
Mm-hmm.
language, it happens with me with Spanish. Then I chose to start with friends, which in the beginning I was mixing up some words because there's like a lot of the conjugation of the verbs, and some verbs are similar. And the same happens now with Portuguese. I don't know how. I feel with it was not the same with friends because maybe my Spanish was still like in a good level, but not that good. Nowadays with Portuguese, I don't mess up so much. I do sometimes. I don't speak Portuñol, but I use some Spanish words in Portuguese that helps me just to
Hmm.
maintain the
Hmm.
conversation instead of stopping and saying, how is this word in Portuguese?
Yeah. For the sake of speed, like for the sake of
Exactly. Yeah.
smoothness and
Yeah,
fluency, we're actually
yeah,
doing this. I do the same.
Not
Guilty
on,
as
yeah,
charged.
not only smoothness, but it's also that the fact that when you've because I also do the same thing as Dimi. I know Spanish and I learn Portuguese. We started at the same time, I think. So, I mean, basically, in the beginning, you just don't know Portuguese practically. So you're just trying to speak Spanish and change the words and hope that they exist in Portuguese. And a thing I try to do, and I think it helps so far, is that I try to separate the accents as much as possible. So I'm not the
Mm.
alphabets, but the accents. I think for me help because I speak
yeah,
Spanish with like European Spanish accent. Like that's kind of like the Greek accent, but I try to speak Portuguese with the most Brazilian, most like different accent, like a
Voices.
mix of I don't know carioca
yeah,
and
yeah,
something else, like
yeah.
changing all the R's to H to H, and like put as many differences to like European Spanish as I can to kind of separate them in my head, to kind of
Mm.
keep them split up.
Yeah, that's a good one.
How about
Uh,
you, Rena?
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, I really agree with I think Telemachos, you made a really good point. I really don't have that much to add. Like in general, I wouldn't advise. I normally don't learn two languages at the same time, but I can improve them, or as long as they are from different language groups or on different or on different levels, then it's fine. But yeah, I think that we have covered pretty much all the common questions that we get. This was a really fun episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. So I think
I
it's.
at least I enjoy it. I don't know how the listeners.
Yeah.
Let us know if you get questions that we haven't covered, and maybe we can look into them
Yeah, maybe we
later
can
on.
do a Q&A or something if you guys want that. So let us know in the comments, either on Instagram or on Spotify. I don't know if you can comment there. But
Hmm.
yeah, we are available anyway. Thank you so much for listening, and see you in the next episode.
Have a great Sunday.
Thank you. Have a great Sunday.
This is the
Adios.
idea.
Ha det!